Hi everybody, and welcome to my series on learning to paint watercolour. I'm Diane, and I'm going to be introducing you to a series of instructional videos for starting to paint in watercolour, starting right from the beginning with choosing your paints and going on through all sorts of different aspects of learning this wonderful art. Every week I'll be adding to the series with all sorts of informal sessions talking about colour and design and brushes and materials and everything that you need to know about. Today's session is an introduction to the vital colours that you need to have your palette when you first start painting. So here I've got one of my collection of various and assorted paint boxes. This is an old one. The price on it is £29, so that's absolutely insane. I think this would cost you something like £290 now. It belonged to a lady who'd given up painting and she was selling all her things, and so I was lucky enough to acquire this, which is a Winsor & Newton metal paint box, and inside it has a selection of paints. And I realised something today, and I've been painting for a very, very long time, and nobody ever told me this before, but I came across this piece of information by chance today. Here we have all of the little pans of paint which you buy as separate pans, and then you place them into this center part of this tin. And a lot of people complain about not having enough room to use this as the palette, but you can easily remove this . It comes out quite easily, like that. All of those paints are in a little framework like that. You can put that to one side, and clearly this, with its indentations, can be used as an extra palette. Isn't that amazing? I had no idea. And I've also discovered that this isn't just a standard selection of paints here. She had in this, and I've not used this before, a brand new piece of Godet, they call it Godet here, it's a, what do they call it, a pan of Potter's Pink. And here we have Davy's Grey. So I'm going to have a look at all of those colours and see what else there is there that's exciting. And I'm going to show you what they do. So I just discovered the Potter's Pink. This is a new colour to me. I hadn't come across it before, but this lady that I bought this pan from, this set from, obviously did know about it. And here we have Davy's Grey, which is a very soft and rather lovely kind of grey, which I think could be very useful in future. I'm not sure what I would do with it, but I'm sure I'll do something with it. And here we have, this is Hooker's Green, which I think is quite well known. It's a nice soft kind of green. I can see that that would blend nicely with yellows to make a beautiful garden green. And here we have Neutral Tint. I've been recommending Neutral Tint. It's basically black, but if you mix that with something like quinacridone gold, you get a shade of brown and all sorts of neutral possibilities. I wonder what happens if we put that with pink. You get a kind of greyish mauve. These colours, they might not look very interesting when you see them like that on their own, but if you're doing a landscape at night, this makes me think of lamplight, you know. So if you were doing a street scene, for example, that would be great. Now, what else is here that looks interesting? That's the Potter's Pink. That's Chinese White, which is not as opaque as, I think that's Chinese White, yes. It's not as opaque as white gouache. And in actual fact, what that's mostly used for is mixing with other colours to give you a chalkier sort of effect. That's what most people use Chinese white for, because it doesn't go over anything very well. And then we've got Burnt Umber, standard colour. Everybody's got burnt umber, raw umber. What's this one? Indian red. Now that's a good strong brown. That's a good strong colour. It's opaque or semi-opaque, and a good addition to your palette. You can water that down quite a lot and you get quite a nice pink. Not unlike Potter's pink, but that would go a lot further than that. And then we've got this, I think this is Alizarin crimson. Yep. Standard red. Everybody should have Alizarin crimson, and as well as Alizarin crimson, everyone should have this one, which is permanent rose. No, sorry, it isn't. I thought that was permanent rose. That's purple lake. Wow, look at that. I've never used that colour, but I'm going to. Now I've got it. I've never had it before. Cadmium red. That's the companion red for Alizarin crimson. Cadmium red is the red that has the orangey tone to it. So that's a warm red. And Alizarin crimson is a cool red. So when you're mixing purples, you mix ultramarine with this one to give you purple, and you don't use cadmium for purples because that's too greenish. Okay, this is French ultramarine, another standard colour. This is, I think, cobalt. Yes, cobalt blue. Oh, it's like Christmas. I've suddenly acquired a whole bunch of new resources here that should see me a long way. Burnt sienna, standard brown. What's this? Cadmium red, pale. So that's more like an orange, this is. That's a nice colour. That's a good colour. That would mix nicely with all sorts of things. I wonder what that would give us a nice soft brown if we mix it with, or grey rather, if we mix it with grey brown, cobalt blue. Okay, and what else have we got here? We've got some interesting looking blues over this side. What's this? Cerulean blue. Very important colour for skies. And there's another cerulean blue. One of these must be there's two different makes. So that's an interesting thing. We can compare the two ceruleans. That one, that is cerulean blue, artists quality. This one is cerulean blue, artists quality. I think that's Winsor & Newton, this one. Not sure what that one is. I think that might be Schminker. But anyway, you can see that they're different. And then we've got cobalt turquoise. Doesn't that make you think of the Caribbean Sea? And then we've got cobalt turquoise light. It's not the same. Emerald green. Very weak. I wouldn't probably use that. Viridian hue. If it says hue, that means that it is a synthetic colour, and that is very strong indeed. And you wouldn't use that, would you, on its own in a painting, because you would say, oh my god. But if you mix that with quinacridone gold, Let's see what happens. That gives you a much more attractive colour. And then if you add a touch of blue, ordinary blue, so cobalt blue, you can see that you're immediately going to get lots of lovely greeny blue colours. So that Viridian hue is going to be quite a powerful member of the palette. And this one is nameless. No name on this. What do you think this is? I would say that was olive green. Olive green, for sure. That one's empty. This one is also olive green. Let's see if I was right. Yeah, it's an olive green, but it's a different one. And this green here, I think, is sap green. Yeah. Which is more yellowish. And then here we have cadmium orange. This, I think, is cadmium yellow. That's a good strong semi-opaque yellow. And you also need, as well as that, you need lemon yellow, which I expect is what this is. And in a minute I'm going to show you what your basic palette should contain by looking at these ones that we've got here. And that is, I think that's lemon as well. Doesn't have a name on it. All these little goddets, usually they should have written on the side of them, when you take them out of your paint set, they should have the name on the side what they are. But they don't always. I think some of these have worn off. That looks like that might be black or something along that line. Yeah, that's black. Okay, so I have explored that palette, that tin of paints, and I now know that, I can't remember her name, the lady that sold me that, but she had all the correct colours in there, and I'm going to show you what you should have in your paint set as a basis to start from. So, lemon yellow, cadmium yellow, cadmium orange. Those are your important yellows. And you don't necessarily use them neat from the tin, but you use them mixed. Then you need yellow ochre, and you need raw sienna, and you need burnt sienna, and you need raw umber, which is here, raw umber and burnt umber. And then on the, and the reds. So continuing down here, you need cadmium red and alizarin crimson, and optional purple lake. I think that's optional. And then on the side here, on the greens, we need sap green, we need olive green or Windsor green. Then we need cerulean blue, cobalt blue, ultramarine, phthalo blue, and we need neutral tint, white. And what's missing? Another green, Viridian. Two, four, six, eight, one missing. turquoise. So there are these and these. The turquoise is optional, but all the rest of those colours there are exactly what you need for your basic palette. I will list them below in the description. And if you're just setting up your palette and just beginning to learn watercolour, I heartily suggest that these are the basic colours that you'll want to buy so that you can get started off on the right foot. You'll be surprised how many different colours you can mix from these 24, and we'll be developing that as we go along the journey together. So thank you very much everybody for listening to me today, and I hope you learnt something. And please come back and take a quick look at the next video in this series, which will be talking about brushes. So I'll say goodbye for now, and thanks again, and bye bye everyone. Bye.